Hello there friends, Siuhy's live here. In today's episode, Siuhy finally joins Liquid officially. Furia wants an international roster, new official ESIC ban, and a lot of other exciting news from the world of CS2. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. And we shall start today's video with some big official news. Just like the insiders reported, Siuhy has officially joined Team Liquid as the team's new in-game leader. He's taking the spot of JKS, who's now been moved to bench. For now, Siuhy is only joining the team on loan until the end of the season. Liquid also stated that he's currently on a trial period, which didn't sit well with Sponge, who criticized the move, calling it another half-finished roster, and saying Liquid still doesn't seem confident in their own direction. But despite this skepticism, most analysts agree that this move makes a lot of sense. Thorin, for example, as always, was toxically sarcastic. He said Siuhy has already led teams into major playoffs multiple times, but he still has got to prove himself. Like, he isn't a fully developed tier 1 captain. And for example, Hawkeye, even back when the rumors started, noted that this version of Liquid could actually become a serious threat to Vitality. And you know what, friends? We'll get to see this new Liquid lineup in action very soon at PGL Bucharest 2025, starting on 6th of April, which we will be covering as well, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel. At the same time, my bros, I'm wondering, will JKS return to FlyQuest? I mean, he will definitely strengthen the squad, no offense. Also, speaking of Team Liquid, Roche recently revealed that back in 2021 he was offered a spot in Team Liquid with a salary of $37,000. But he turned it down because his role was too similar to Elysia's. Guys, what do you think of such a salary for Roche in 2021? And also, I mean, Roche is recently spilling a lot of facts about money and earnings. Isn't he afraid of NDAs or something? And since we're on the topic of in-game leaders, we had to mention Zeus's exclusive IGL tier list, where he ranked the current captains based on their performance and impact. At the very top, in the S tier, Zeus put Apex, Brawlon, Karrigan, and Chopper, calling them the most effective leaders at the moment. One tier below, he placed Alex B, Major, Fallen, and surprisingly Cadian. As for the weakest and worst performing IGL, Zeus picked Kixon, with Siuhy, Snacks, Twists, Electronic, and Blitz just slightly above him. Of course, this tier list could shift, especially if Siuhy proves himself during his time with Liquid. But for now, my friends, did you notice that this list closely mirrors the HLTV and Valve team rankings? So it's hard to argue with it. But guys, what do you think? Make your tier lists of IGLs in the comments below. And now, my friends, since we're talking about top players, I have something to tell you, because last night this news piece dropped. According to Nell, the well-known insider, M0NESY won't be playing for G2 at the upcoming major because he's set to join Falcons very soon. The reason is basically that G2 and M0NESY couldn't agree on a contract extension, and he simply refused to re-sign. Falcons stepped in and offered to buy him out during the off-season, which is the only way for G2 to at least get something in return. Otherwise, they were risking to lose M0NESY for free, just as they lost Nico. Sources say M0NESY's new salary will be around $40,000 per month. Later, this information was confirmed by Overdrive as well. M0NESY is expected to replace Dexter, but the big question is, how quickly will Ilya adapt to Falcons' playstyle? And how much will he impact the results? Interestingly, there were rumors last year that both M0NESY and Yimphat were considering a move to Falcons, but Yimphat reportedly turned it down, after M0NESY said no initially. Now things might finally fall into place, and if Falcons manage to sign one more young star, they could end up building a super team as it is. So yeah, it turns out that according to rumors, M0NESY will join Falcons somewhere between now and the beginning of June. Guys, what do you think about these roster moves? Let us know in the comments below, because this is huge. Maybe the great plan of M0NESY is simply to wait until Shiro fails with Spirit, meanwhile farming some cash with Falcons.
But who knows, only the time will tell.
Now, my friends, a couple of news about tournaments. First, there's been an interesting situation with the Valve's ranking system. 6 teams have pulled out of the upcoming Yala Compass Qatar 2025, basically to focus on major qualifiers, with Complexity, Bad Boom, ANS, Astralis, and a few others. And while skipping the tournament to prepare for the qualifiers for the major makes perfect sense, the weird part is these teams has just finished playing the qualifiers for this exact Yala Compass a few days ago. So the whole point of doing that was to lock in Valve ranking points and ensure major qualifier access. So now these 6 teams are pretty much bailing on the same event that helped them climb the rankings, which once again shows how flawed and impractical Valve's ranking system really is. They definitely need to do something about it. In more team and tournament news, Eternal Fire have officially withdrawn from IM Melbourne, citing health concerns involving one of their key players. They will be replaced by Saw. As many of you already know, Centaurus has been dealing with some serious back issues, to the point where it's difficult for him to breathe, and he's also been experiencing stomach problems as well. He even posted a photo from the hospital not so long ago, likely taken after an undergoing surgery or something. Despite all of this, Eternal Fire still plans to compete with their full roster at PGL Bucharest. But let's be real, we all just hope that Centaurus can fully recover soon, to get back to dominate on the server like he used to. We wish him the best of luck and speedy recovery. While some teams are withdrawing from events, others aren't being allowed to play. That's exactly what happened to HO2, a Yakutian organization that moved to the Asian region at the end of 2024. The issue here is that most of their players are basically from Russia, so technically they should be playing in European qualifiers, even though they're all located in the eastern part of Russia, which is closer to Asia. That's why, due to their location and ping, they've been playing regularly against Asian teams, which didn't sit well with the Mongolian Esports Federation, who complained to Valve and asked them to block HO2 from participating in Asian qualifiers. And Valve agreed, which now puts HO2's major chances at serious risk. And you know, this isn't the first time HO2 had serious issues with the Mongolian Esports Federation. Back during a LAN qualifier, they asked for a small reschedule due to exit lag problems, but the organizers just refused. And HO2 lost to Chingiz Warriors, a weaker team on paper, but a Mongolian one. And this whole situation caught the attention of 2 major champions. First, Mo, now HO2's coach, questioned why Mongolian Esports Federation is just ignoring their requests, making their life pretty hard. And his former teammate Adran, who brought up how Central Asian teams also struggle with ping issues and don't fit clearly into Europe or Asia. It's also worth noting that HO2 recently won the Asian closed qualifier for PGL Astana, so this ruling could just undo all their progress. By the way, our Twitter followers were the first to hear about this developing story, so make sure, my friends, to follow us there to stay ahead of the curve. The link to our Twitter is in the description. Now let's talk about bans. We will start with something pleasing. Instead of addressing ongoing issues like the HO2 situation, Valve has decided to shift focus. They started to ban players again, but this time it's not cheaters getting hit, it's the case farmers. What's even more interesting is that these bans weren't handed out by VAC or any other anti-cheat system. They were clearly done manually, likely by a Valve employee. You can tell that from the way they were issued. And once again, this shows where Valve's priorities lie. They are more concerned about punishing farmers than dealing with actual cheaters. Thankfully, while Valve stayed silent, ESIC finally stepped in, and after a long investigation, because ESIC never does anything quickly, they've handed Joel a permanent ban from competitive play. But that's not even the craziest part. The situation came with some wild new details. Turns out Joel had premium grade hardware cheats installed on his PC. We're talking about full-on aimbot, trigger bot, and wall hack with enemy HPs. It's not just basic scripts. It also came out that ESIC and Joel had a non-disclosure agreement at first. They agreed not to make the details public, while the case was still ongoing. But once the period ended, Joe started threatening them and trying to blackmail the commission. So in the end, ESIC not just slapped him with a lifetime ban, but made it an execution, a public one. Supposedly, he violated one rule of the anti-corruption code and 11 different sections of the code of conduct. Whatever the hell that means. Absolute madness. But at least now justice has been served. But, well, let's circle back to Valve, who recently admitted to a pretty surprising slip-up. Remember how we discussed that a lot of streamers and popular personalities just got a lot of huge, cool knives with Doppler effects and all that? Turns out, when the new Fever case dropped, Valve basically messed up with the algorithm, and the drop rates for ultra-rare knife finishes like Ruby, Sapphire, and Black Pearl were just a lot higher than they're supposed to be. And basically because of this error, a ton of players ended up unboxing insanely rare knives, way more often than usual. One Twitter user noticed this strange pattern and reached out to Valve, and they actually confirmed it was pretty much a bug. The issue has since been fixed, and now the odds of pulling those rare high-value knives are back to being extremely low. So if you were one of the lucky ones to pull a gem early, congrats, you've just beat the system. Not me though, I got the M4A4 and the USP, and also the shotgun, and nothing more. God damn it. I just hope you got something good, guys. Anyways, remember how in the last video we mentioned that Blast is cancelling their Mexico event and moving it back to Copenhagen? That led many to believe that Blast would stick to the safer, more familiar locations moving forward, but it turns out that was not the case. In 2026, we're getting a Blast event in India. It will take place in Mumbai, and it's happening thanks to an earlier partnership with Rise Worldwide, aimed at developing esports in the region. Let's just hope that Blast will take the event seriously and deliver the quality they're known for, because no one wants a repeat of last year's Sky Sports mess. If any one of you, my dear friends, are from India, let us know in the comments below, because it's really interesting to know. And to wrap things up, let's talk about roster rumors and official reshuffles. First, we've got something that came from Hirumi, an Eastern European insider. He said that according to his sources, both Furia and Gamer Legion are currently targeting CIS Oppers for potential buyouts. Specifically, they're eyeing Grix from Aurora and Molodoi from Amcal. While Gamer Legion might have an easier time integrating either of them, especially after already playing with Flamas, it could be a lot tougher for Furia, since neither player speaks Portuguese, and the org would need to make some major adjustments for communication. It also signals a possible international shift for the Brazilian squad, a huge step for a team that's historically stayed local. But I guess it's the times we live in. And now let's talk about some confirmed changes, this time in Passion UA. And we're not just talking about players, the back shift actually starts with the coaching staff. Kane has officially left the team, and his spot has been taken by former Complexity coach TC. What? Why? How? And not only me, but a lot of people met this decision with confusion. Even Zeus commented on it, saying that it's a strange move. After all, Kane built the team from scratch, prepped them for competition, and led them to the major. Yeah, the results dipped after 2 key players were sold, but Zeus pointed out that Kane was the one who created the tactical and strategic foundation for the roster. Still, the org decided it was time for change. Now we'll see if it pays off. And also, by the way, Waro2K has officially joined the team, his first since leaving Monte back in 2024. Now with a new coach and a high-impact Opper on board, let's see how far this lineup can go. And we shall end today's news on a wholesome note. See, back in 2023, a 16-year-old player named Stomach messaged Heroic on Twitter, asking them to consider him for a future academy team. Fast forward, April 3rd, 2025, 2 years later, Heroic officially announced their new academy roster featuring Dangzo, Anber, FNL, Scroob, and, you might have guessed, Stomach. This story shows if you've got real talent and you're not afraid to put yourself out there, your childhood dream might actually come true one day. Because who knows, maybe Heroic would have never noticed him if he hadn't sent that message. And that's all for today, my friends. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow the channel Now like the video and drop by in the comments below. It helps us to develop a lot. Thanks again, and I'm not saying goodbye for a long time. See you soon.